Hello again, article writers. The next step in your process this week will be planning your article. And this might include the use of a graphic organizer. Sometimes when I'm writing, I really need a place to write down my thoughts. I'm not sure how I'm going to organize them all into a structure that my information will be clear to my reader, and I really need a place to do this. So I use a graphic organizer to help me brainstorm and organize my ideas. This is an optional step. You might feel like your brain is overflowing with ideas and you'd just like to get started writing. That's okay. Sometimes that's part of the process too. But other times we might just need to pause and really think about what it is we want to include, what we might want to leave out, and what we're unsure of. So if you would need a graphic organizer, I have a few options for you here on this slide. Let's take a look at article organizer number 1. Organizer 1 kind of looks like a list. So we might start with our topic. What is the main idea of the article, in other words? Then we would follow that with the who, what, when, where, and how, important details that my reader would need to know about the topic of the article. I might put in the lead or the hook. In the short story unit, we called this the hook. In article writing, it's called the lead, but it really is where we grab the reader's attention immediately and make sure that they want to keep reading. So you might use an anecdote, a very short story, a question, a description, etc., in order to engage our reader and make them want to keep reading. Next, I might organize the body. The body is the main part of your article. It's here that authors anticipate and answer possible questions that are raised in the lead, and where authors might include facts, statistics, quotes, and examples, as well as key terms and specific vocabulary to give readers a sense of the subject or topic. So here, I might include my major point number 1 on what supporting facts, statistics, quotes, and examples, key terms, and specific vocabulary might prove this point. Again, with number 2 and number 3. This might also be the point where I prioritize. What do I want my reader to see first? And what do I want them to see last? What might be appropriate for the middle? Finally, we have our conclusion, where we leave our reader with something to think about. Consider restating a theme, including a memorable quote, description, or again, an anecdote, a very short story. So this is our first organizer. Article organizer 2 is pretty simple. It's just 3 boxes, including a lot of the same things on the other organizer, but maybe visually this appeals to you more. So here I have the most important information, the who, what, when, where, and how at the top. In the middle, supporting information, facts, quotes, statistics, examples, key terms, and vocabulary. And this, which I really like, the interesting but least important information. So we may have something that might be interesting that we think we may want to include, but we're not quite sure where it fits in. So I might put it in this box for now and have it here in my graphic organizer and write the rest of my article and then determine if there's anywhere where it seems to make sense to include this interesting bit of information. Article organizer number 3 begins with the title and the topic. I wanted to pause quickly and talk to you about the title. It's really worth it to come up with some sort of clever or catchy title. Just like it's important to think about the title of a book or the cover of a book. Because if a reader picks up a book and they're interested in the first thing they see, the title and the cover, they may open that book and continue to read. Similarly, if someone looks at the top of a newspaper and they see the title of an article and it appeals to them in some way, or if it's catchy or clever, they may continue to read, which is obviously what we authors want our readers to do. Again, we might have key terms and topic-specific vocabulary here. For example, if I were writing about a football game from Friday night, I might need to include some topic-specific vocabulary so that my readers know exactly what I'm talking about. This is particularly important if you know a lot about the topic that you're writing about, because we may take for granted that our readers also know those things, and they just may not. We may need to define some things that we're not even aware that we need to define. So it's important to list some key terms here and decide if you need to define those for your readers. Again, you would include, obviously, your important details, facts, statistics, examples, and quotes, and a major takeaway. What is it that you want your readers to walk away and think about? The last thing on this slide is a link to an interview with Andrew Rosenthal, who is an editor for the New York Times. And, excuse me, he just tells you a little bit about how to write an editorial. I feel like editorials can be a little bit tricky sometimes because they are a little bit more subjective. We are inserting our opinion a little bit more. So it's a little more than just the pure facts that might go into a current event or a sports article. So he has a couple of tips here for writing an effective editorial that may be helpful to you as well. But just like the graphic organizer, it's up to you whether or not you watch this, specifically because you may not be writing an editorial. You may actually be writing a sports article or a current event. And in that case, this might not be as helpful for you. So once again, if you have any questions, you can always email me. My email is sjb37@scadsi.org. And I'm going to put that at the end, on the end slide of this presentation as well, in case you have any questions. Bye.